No, what happened to all my... Hey, I guess I'm here. I don't know if anybody's going to be on here yet. All right. I'm going to post this on Twitter, so hold on. Let me find it. At least I think I'm going on. Yeah, I'm on right now. All right. What's going on, guys? Good to see you. This is something new I'm trying out. First Litecoin Underground live stream. It's 9 a.m. It's January 7th. So I'm trying to see if I'm on here or not. You might have some echo here, but I'm going to share this. Hang on a second. I kind of like this because I can... Oh, what the heck? Why can't I find the video somewhere? Hold on. By the way, there's a really cool thing on YouTube. Well, I shouldn't say cool. I mean, it's not like that exciting. You're not going to go nuts for it. But I'm not even subscribed to my own channel. That's really something that's kind of pathetic. Hold on. I want to get some echo going. Hold on 1 second. All right. All right. Let's see how this goes. All right, sorry about that. If anybody's even watching, I don't even know if I don't even think I can see. Oh, there's one watcher, one viewer. It is me. All right. Okay, I think I'm good. I can't mute that. All right. Okay, we're good. So, yeah, I'm just hoping to take this and kind of work out the kinks. I have one person that seems to be interested in showing up, but it would just be someone from our Litecoin Underground. So, I'm wearing the hat today to brand myself out here. So, yeah, this is something I had an idea of a few weeks ago. I started thinking about... I'd sat down and I was going to make some videos, and I realized, like, I don't like generally just sitting here doing a video about like an instructional video or something that's going to be set in stone. That's I don't know, me just talking to you one-on-one. Now, the irony is that here I am, of course, talking to you one-on-one, but that's not really my long-term plan for all this. So I don't know. There's a lot that's kind of going through my head with all this. I was, I started the underground. If you guys don't know, if you somehow just found me because you searched Litecoin and you haven't actually gone onto Twitter and found me, or you don't know me from Twitter, I do these Twitter spaces every Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern. And I started those... I don't know. I had kind of a viral post from September of 21 or something. And I don't know, it got enough reaction. I realized that like there's a opportunity that I felt like Litecoiners were looking for an outlet, so to speak, on these different topics. Just a reason, just a focal point, somewhere to go and kind of vent or get this stuff out of our system. And yeah, that was my original thought. Like, I'll just create a group. And I remember kind of chatting with some people in the spaces, or in on Twitter, and we'd thrown some names around: Litecoin Alliance, Litecoin Army, or something like that, and I woke up one morning, I was like, oh, Litecoin Underground. I actually envisioned, this was what I kind of envisioned, this logo. I was like, oh, that works, right? It sounds kind of cool. It fits the names, like London Underground. And so I thought, all right, let's do this. And the original thought process was, get everybody together and talk about how can we help promote Litecoin? How can we help get my thought in the beginning was merchant acceptance. I thought that was the big thing. Oh, by the way, coffee, nothing in it, just black coffee. If you have a coffee you like, I mean, no one's even watching right now, but like if you have a black coffee that you drink, because I drink black coffee, or maybe you got some sort of fancy mixture you like to put in, like egg and butter or something. Let me know what it is. I might do like a coffee fund or like a different coffee every week or something. So, yeah, we got into the Twitter Spaces, and I don't want to say it blew up, but I think I got people in there that I was surprised very early on with, people with pretty prominent accounts, and I had people coming in from the foundation. And I thought, well, hey, this is clearly this was needed beyond just like this organizing place, but more of just a meeting place, just to kind of bounce ideas off each other. And so, we did a few of them, and I think Why Litecoin and I, oh, hey, Clint, what's going on? So Why Litecoin and I thought, hey, let's make a podcast, because there were no Litecoin podcasts. So I started that, and yeah, I mean, you guys have all been so super supportive of it. And then here I am now, right? Like I think 6 months after I started that or something, I was in the MWeb launch, and it just seemed like such a kind of fast progression in the Litecoin community. So that's why it all started. And then I've done some YouTube videos, and sitting down with somebody and doing a one-on-one interview, I'm just going, it's just boring to me. I don't know why. I don't dislike the people, but there's something that just doesn't work with me. I feel like the Twitter Spaces format works really well, and I kind of want to try to duplicate that in video form. So, I was telling my wife, I'm like, hey, I'm doing a live stream tomorrow. And I'm like, I don't even know why. Like, I started thinking about, like, why am I even doing this? Like, what's my purpose? Clint Westwood, he's commented, he makes videos all the time. And I'm sure you do the same thing. Like, I got plenty of free time on my hands. I could go do some things that are, more in my personal life, or go hang out with my kids. What am I doing this for? And so I really kind of thought a lot about that. And, I guess I'd definitely be lying if I sat here and said that, I don't, I own Litecoin. I'm very interested in Litecoin being broadly accepted. And so I guess my strategy has been since the beginning that I want to bring as many people to even just cryptocurrencies in the right way. If it ends up being Litecoin, like, I think most people who are in Twitter in the crypto space for long enough gravitate towards Litecoin. I think they see what it does well versus what's available out there. And it's not, you can't go back in time. So there's only going to ever be, Bitcoin, then Litecoin. It's always going to be, Bitcoin will always be the oldest, Litecoin will always be the second oldest. So I don't know, but that was part of it. And I think the other thing that's come to be is that this might sound like a really grand goal, but I think the internet's got a really weird culture of, I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. I think even on YouTube, I mean, but the streaming is different. I will say that. I go on Twitch, and I think it's a much more laid back mindset. And I think that I want to bring that like culture we have from the Litecoin Underground and get it into video format, because I think there's more communicating that needs to be done. There's more topics that need to be done. I want this to be entertaining. I want this to be something that we grow the audience through not just crypto people. So we're going to talk about a variety of different things. Today, I'm going to go over stuff in the news. Some of it's crypto related, some of it's not, some of it's kind of money related. I might get in trouble in the sense that, like, I'm going to play other people's videos. So if that's a bad thing, I don't know. But you know what? Honestly, let me check. Hang on one second. I got to share this link with some people because I might have some people come in. Hang on a minute. So anyway, sorry guys. This is the other reason I like the stream format, is that there's a little bit more of a casual process to it all. Why can't I find someone? Oh, great. There's no search function here. Hold on one second. So yeah, I've got a bunch of news topics. You're kind of all over the place, but I want to go back to something, because right in the beginning, I wrote something yesterday on Twitter about where's MetaKermit? What the heck? About tribalism. And by the way, give me comments if I bore you. Tell me. So yeah, there was this. I had this thought the other day, because I've been trying to kind of diagnose this. Again, this is kind of not crypto related. About like what the internet's created as far as these cultures, and particularly cryptocurrency. What is it that why are we so combative with each other? Why is it a lack of cooperation? And I thought about tribalism, because I had something the other day. It was some post by like Ben Shapiro, and it's just it wasn't anything big, but it just made me see like that both sides, any side of a cultural debate, or if it's Democrats and Republicans, if it's in our world maximalists versus maybe us or Ethereum people, we get very we clash, right? And so we tend to like anything the other side does is wrong, even if it's like in our minds it is, even if it's not wrong. Let me show you what I was thinking. There was one today that I just bookmarked this morning, and I couldn't believe it. Of course, my Twitter doesn't want to work this morning. Well, what the heck? Oh, never mind. Forget it. Well, it was this one. Honestly, it was this. Well, never mind. I'm not going to get into that yet. I don't want to get into that yet. I'm sorry. I'm distracted. So, so yeah. Anyway, going back to this live stream. Here's what I'm looking for. If you guys want to share this with people, this would be helpful for me. This is what my vision is. So it's like I said, I sat down to make a video. I was going to make it about paper wallets or something. I started recording it, and I was like, this just isn't me. I don't feel like this is where I'm best. I like being kind of the master of ceremonies, like in on the Litecoin Underground. I like other people to chime in. I'm better in conversation. Like, I feel like I'm funnier when I have other people to kind of bounce my jokes off of, or I can honestly make fun of the way they talk or something. I don't know. And so I was like, I woke up again. I had these inspirations in the morning for some reason. I woke up and I'm like, I gotta do a live stream. That makes sense to me. Get the same format, get another couple people consistently together. I don't know if you've ever watched Up Only with Crypto Cobain, by the way. Good morning. But it's usually him and another guy, maybe a third person. And they'll get a guest in occasionally, but they just kind of review stories. And I thought that makes sense. I need a consistent co-host, and I want it to be not just crypto. I want it to be about, like, I'll go over some stories today, and I want somebody with a different point of view. Like, I think that's the other part of what think sometimes in the underground. We all kind of agree with each other, not always, but for the most part, I would say the dominant group of people that's in there, we tend to have the same vision, and I would like to hear some of the other stuff. So if you know somebody or you think somebody out there would be a good fit, I think somebody younger. I mentioned this to the underground. Maybe a female. We have very few females in the crypto space that wants to mix it up, is willing to have a discussion, even a disagreement, and understands that it's not about, like, we're not trying to hurt each other's feelings. We're just having a disagreement. I have a couple guys that are willing to help out, maybe with some editing, because that's the other thing, is that taking these and condensing them down into something interesting might be kind of fun and be able to kind of spread the word. So the whole long-term goal, like I said before, why am I doing this? I think the first thing you have to have is you have to have people's eyeballs. If you're gonna get them to see what you want them to see, I guess, if you want to be an influencer, you have to have eyeballs. And so that's kind of my goal. I want to create something that's a little more entertaining, is going to reach a broader audience, which is why I think YouTube is the format. And yeah, I think my long-term goal is that these crypto values, or the way crypto works, and when I say crypto, you guys know what I mean, the good coins, that they become more of the conversation, and that they are given context. We all have had that conversation, that 5-minute conversation about cryptocurrency, that we say, what is even like, how do you describe it to somebody in 5 minutes? How do you get them to understand the importance of what these technologies do? And I don't think you can without really giving them a broad understanding. Reading these articles, I have a bunch of written down. Some people mentioned actually that Joe Rogan clip of the cobalt mining. That's one and I actually haven't even watched the clip. I watched like the first 2 minutes last night. I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna live react. It's quite a long video, but that, again, I punched out 3 hours to do this. We'll see if I can fill it up with me just talking. Okay, so anyway, so yeah, that's a good idea. Like the cobalt mining, what does that have to do with cryptocurrency, right? What does that have to do with the intervention of the fiat money system, and how is it correlated to like this indentured servitude that is this money system? So I think if you tried to explain that to somebody without context, it's just going to go over their head. So the only way to do it is for them to see that, and then to see, stuff like I have some other stuff I'll show you later, but to get more context about why these things work, and be able to argue about them, I guess. Let's see, talks with, oh, look, I already got somebody coming in. Oh my God. Do you want to be on video? Hang on a second. All right. He's ready. Okay. So, hey, my first ever guest. Hey, I want to see this. Talks with noise. Disagreements are one of my favorite forms of talk content to watch. All right. I'm assuming you mean empty to not shut each other down. But all right. All right. First guest. You guys know him as Latin Slovak, or MetaFungible. Dang, man.
What up? What up?
I'm surprised you needed to be on Face at all.
Yeah, no, it's all good. Glad to
Where'd
be
you get
here,
the
man.
gig?
What's up?
Where'd you get the mask?
It was an online vendor. It was a couple years ago. I think it was off of Etsy.
Dude, I went on to the Litecoin store. I was gonna buy some of those stickers, like the chicken stickers, and they were like $5 a piece, and shipping.
Or at the foundation.
Yeah. It was like I was buy 2 of them, and shipping was like $14 for a $10 order. I was like, what? This is a sticker. Shouldn't this be like 50 cents? So I don't know where they're shipping those from, but I didn't order them yet. I was gonna harass the foundation, but
Yeah, low pricey there.
well, so what's going on, man? How you been?
Hey man, doing all right.
Are you anxious showing your face here or what?
No, not worried at all, man. It's all good.
You're probably fairly easily identifiable from your voice, right?
Yeah, I mean, I might have to get a little modulator or something at some point.
Yeah. Hey,
But
are those Bear? Are you a Bears fan?
yeah,
Oh, all right. That's pretty
yeah, I
rough. I
was
thought,
gonna wear my Blackhawks COVID mask, but I chose to support Litecoin today. So
got you. Yeah, I'm a New York Giants guy. I'm always thankful. I grew up here in Ohio, and I just like when I was like 6 or 7, my brother was a Broncos fan. He liked Elway, and they played in
yeah,
the Super Bowl. And I was like, all right, I took the Giants because I was like 6 or whatever. And I avoided rooting for the Lions. I avoided rooting for the Browns or the Bengals. It was great. And back then the Colts were awful. Those were like the only teams that were around me. It was like I
yeah.
dodged a bullet big time. But yeah, so I got a whole bunch of stories and you sent me one yesterday. Let me see if I don't think you sent it to me on Twitter. So let me pull this up because I thought this was interesting. Well, yeah, or maybe you don't want to talk about it. You got something else you want to talk about?
No, it's cool. To be quite honest, I was looking at it, and it's kind of old news, but um,
Here, let me
it's
pull it up
it's
here.
it's just a good realization that these financial institutions, with or without any subpoena or any type of court orders, warrants, or whatever, they're willing and able to provide information to the powers that be. They're going to do that without questions asked.
Hey, can you send
You
it
know,
to me? I had it on my phone, but I don't have the actual link. But anyway,
I think
so
it was, yeah, but I think I got it on my timeline as well. But
oh, I'll
yeah, this
find it.
was basically revolved around the January 6th. So Bank of America, people were calling for boycotts of Bank of America because they shared. Let's see, I got it up over here.
Here I'll pull it. I got it. Hold up, bud. So yeah, if you guys, again, I assume anybody that's in here, I mean, we got 5 people, and anybody who watches probably knows me from. God damn it! Hang on a second. Knows us from Litecoin Underground, Twitter Spaces. But
Yeah,
if you don't, MetaFungible, MetaKermit, Latin Slovak, whatever you want. Generally comes in. I would say you and there's 3 of you that are really, I guess Boglamas is kind of the same way, but privacy focused guys. And I'd say definitely more so than me. And that's the hard part about privacy, right? It's like these scales. And some people it's like
yeah,
it's all or nothing, but I appreciate you guys are at least reasonable about it. But
sure.
okay, so yeah, this was interesting. And so again, as far as a purpose of cryptocurrency, so these guys are so Bank of America, yeah, you tell me they're going into people's accounts just unsolicited or what?
Yeah. I mean, just snooping in people's accounts. So essentially, 211 people brought in for questioning. The thing about this is they were looking at Bank of America wanted information on federal investigators asked Bank of America politely for information on customers who made debit or credit card purchases in DC, reserved hotels and Airbnbs in or around the capital, patronized weapon stores, and made airline reservations within the time frame surrounding the attacks. So, they and I'm not here to talk about January 6th and all that. this is to the point of, financial institutions and governments are obviously in your business. And the problem is if you don't have financial privacy, I mean, there's a lot of issues with that, but there's people that are innocent that can get wrapped up into this whole, investigation. It could be inconvenience on your life, and or potentially they can find something else that they want to trip you up on, and find a way to join you into that I guess the investigation. So, with cryptocurrency and cash, it does give you the ability to conceal or to be private, with your transactions, if you are using the tools necessary. So, pseudonymity is good as long as you don't KYC in, as long as you don't provide personal identifying information. But the moment you do that, pseudonymity goes out the window. And
Right.
ultimately Bitcoin, Litecoin, if you even think about Zcash, vanilla, addresses, those are surveillance chains off the bat.
Well, it's interesting in this one because, like, real quick, like I find it weird that they did this without any, like, does any need for the government to prove any sort of level of reasoning? It doesn't seem like, right? So they go in and give them a broad brush and say, scour your financial records, and
for sure,
to imply, but like they didn't even have anybody that they were suspicious of. Like, you'd think they'd at least have given them a list of, like, hey, did any of these people, I guess it's easier than going to all the hotels, they probably figure, because it's a matter of just like scrubbing a database, right?
yeah.
So the cops probably felt that was easier. It is interesting, like, at what point does a business have the I guess responsibility to protect its customers, or the expectation? That might be the other thing. Like, what's your expectation as a user? Oh, dang, hey, sorry about that. I better turn off notifications. Yeah, because I don't know. It's interesting, man. I'm like, I would like to be reasonable on some of this stuff. Not that, again, I have no opinion, honestly, on January. I had people I knew that were there, but I wasn't a participant. I haven't paid close enough attention to it after the fact. Yeah, it's weird that they would even be. Oh yeah, that's true. Maybe I have the mask on. This is like how I'm like,
check your account.
I'm money laundering. I'm money laundering my face. You know what I'm saying? I'm like put enough white market stuff out there to obscure my black market activity. So
right.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy that your bank. Well, yeah, I mean, they do monitor it. Like, you wonder who else they share that information with too.
Right. Absolutely. Every
transaction.
Every transaction.
So you think
and what I was going to say is that they. I'm sorry. I think we got a little delay. But I was just going to say, it's ultimately, under the guise of the Bank Secrecy Act. I mean, that's what they're going to fall back on every time. So, transacting in a a bank or credit union in the United States, you ought to expect that every transaction is being looked at and or shared. Bank of America, when they release their statements, they basically say, they don't comment on communications with law enforcement. So,
what is the Bank Secrecy Act? Now I'm gonna get in. See, I like doing the digging. I mentioned at the beginning, that's the first thing I did that was. The first thing I did as a Litecoiner that was like got any kind of action was that one I did about the whole Litecoin, the Litecoin Walmart announcement. Do you remember that?
The fake news, I guess, right?
Yeah, the Turkish accounts on Twitter. And I was like, so I made that video, and got some people on Reddit picked it up. And that was the first time I was like, oh, yeah, people are kind of interested in this. And that's what I do. Like, that's what I was kind of on a kick back then of looking at articles and going like, what it like taking an article like I just showed you, like we just did, and clicking the links. It'll be like, this news article says A, B, and C, and then you click on that link, and there's not even an article there, or it's debatable. Like, you have to go 3 or 4 layers deep to even figure out what the hell they're basing this article on. So
Right.
I'm kind of curious what the Bank
Yeah.
Secrecy Act is.
They there was a lot
So
of
they're allowed to do what? Give me an overview here.
So yeah, I mean, and that story was shared by like a UK art publisher. There's also the New York Post ran a couple stories on this as well. But the Bank Secrecy Act, I mean, it's revolved around, financial institutions are required to cooperate with law enforcement to detect money laundering, terrorist financing, and other criminal acts.
Misuse of our nation's financial institutions. Conducts supervisory activities and takes enforcement actions. So is this something where they're kind of the banks themselves are in a way responsible to do this, even if like just any sort of suspicion, like suspicious activity, they have to report, even if they don't have any real verifiable proof. Right. They don't have to be subpoenaed. That's interesting.
Yeah, there is SARS reports that a brokerage or a bank will report to the authorities. I'm trying to figure the dollar amount. I believe it's like a transaction above $10,000 is automatically going to send a suspicious activity report, which is the SARS. And so, you go into a bank and you pull out that amount of money, it's automatically going to get flagged, regardless of what your intentions are.
Oh, yeah. So they have to establish compliance programs, due diligence systems, that OFAC. I've never, people use that OFAC phrase. I don't even know what the Office of Foreign Assets Control is. Suspicious activities. But yeah, you're not joking around. Were you in this world a little bit? Did you work in a bank or something?
In a brokerage.
Okay. Is there a big difference between a bank and a brokerage?
What's that?
Is there much of a difference between a bank and a brokerage? Like meaning they have to kind of adhere to the same rules, right?
For sure. Yeah.
Hey, you got some look into Litecoin wants us to show an MWeb transaction live. Are you on your PC? Yeah, I do have my Litecoin core. I don't know why we have to show it, but it kind of defeats the purpose. Look into Litecoin.
I'm not. Yeah, I'm not. I'm not on the desktop or laptop right now. That's why we need to get. Well, we ain't gonna show it no way, anyways. Why Litecoin? But
no, I think that's look into Litecoin. I'm guessing that's.
Oh, look. Okay, gotcha. But yeah, hot wallet, hot signing software device support is going to be crucial to this movement here.
All right. Yeah, there were some other ones I wanted to. You came in. I had a whole bunch. I got these different topics I was going to bring up, and one of them was I was going to play the video of that Prime Minister of Italy. Remember that lady going off about the currency, African franc or whatever it is?
Yeah, she's a fireball.
Yeah, she's something else. The other one that was funny was there's a clip of Bill Maher. This was an old clip, and the irony is actually he posted this. It was like a week before everything fell apart in May of 21, just basically doubting cryptocurrencies. But Actually, I need to do. I'm gonna need to get another cup of coffee here. Do you drink coffee? You seem like you get pretty fired up.
Yeah, I'll have some coffee. I don't think it really does much, but yeah, I'll have a cup or two.
You're crazy, dude. I've become like I'm super productive. I like to talk already. You get some coffee in me, I'm pretty good to go. But all right. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know if you want to get into anything else, if you have anything specific you want to talk about. I mean, I appreciate you coming in. I'm like, you can just hang out for now.
Yeah, no, it's cool. It's kind of funny. Litecoin Lisa thought I was you and you were me.
Well, she's one of the first people. I found it so funny after I did that video, that one about the Turkish thing. I should try to find that actually. And because my name back then, I had that account. I was Mega Chunky Buns. Was my name. And I remember her in a live stream being like, "This Mega Chunky Buns." I think she always thought that was hilarious. But Mega and Meta, I get it. She's confused.
Right.
She's confused.
Oh, for sure.
Well, hey, I'm gonna go grab a cup of coffee. Do you think about what you want to talk about, or do you want to share a screen? You're looking at what I'm looking at, right? You got the same.
It's a split screen right now, at least what I'm seeing here.
I mean, can you control things right here? Can you see like on the right the comments?
No, I don't. Yeah, it just says you're in the show. Everyone can see and hear you, but yeah, there's no comment streams or anything.
Oh, wait, maybe I can have you. Maybe you can co-host or something. I used to pay for this StreamYard when I was doing some videos, and I'm not right now. So I've lacked some capabilities. Like I'm only able to stream on one service. And I was like, I didn't realize that. And this morning I was like, I didn't want to go through all the bullshit of putting my credit card information in and paying for it. You know what I mean? But
right.
Yeah, I'm trying to get something to put in here. Well, yeah, here. I'm gonna be gone for 30 seconds, not even. I'll be right back.
All right. Cool.
Talk to people.
Yeah, what up, people? I can't see anything you're saying, but hope everybody is having a decent day, evening, afternoon. Hopefully you're enjoying the bear market and you're using your coinage like you should.
That'd be a good thing to talk to you about, is the Luke Jr. guy.
Oh yeah. What a mess.
Yeah, let me pull him up. I'm trying to use Twitter a bit. So yeah, anybody who didn't pay attention, I think I gotta always remember that we're not just talking to the 8 people in the room or whatever. We're talking to everybody. Luke. I think of Luke, the name Luke. I don't know how old you are. You're not as old as me, but I think of 2 Live Crew.
Oh yeah? Yeah, he's far from it.
I remember I was like, God, man, I had one friend that he had an older brother, and he always introduced me to like the worst parts, like where if my parents had known what he was showing me when I was like 10.
Right.
All right, so here we go. Wonder if I can find his actual Twitter. Hang on.
Luke Dash Jr.
Yeah. So if you don't know this guy's, so he's been a developer. Do you know his whole history or no? I mean, I don't. I only really heard of the guy because of this. I'm not deeply into who the core devs are and all that. I'm blocked. Why am I blocked?
From oh boy?
I've never interacted with him in my life.
Flat out. Damn, bro.
I've probably said some stuff about whatchamacallit. I've said some things about Blockstream. I'm not gonna lie. We talk about, Did you see what I said yesterday about Blockstream?
I don't think so.
Well, anyway, so this guy apparently he's been a core dev for like a decade, right?
Yeah, quite a bit.
And maybe you can translate this for me because we did talk about this a little bit. The PGP key, which is like a personal, what was it? Like almost like a very light form of security, essentially.
Yeah.
Kind of like a keep key or something, wasn't it?
It's got to do with like encryption, like keys, essentially.
Well, I think what he had is he was storing his seed phrase or his private key somewhere on his computer under another like password, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let me look up what PGP means. That way I'm
Yeah,
not.
so it's pretty good privacy. Is an
Oh, is that what it
encryption
means?
program. Yeah, it's an encryption program that provides cryptographic privacy and authentication for data communication. It's used for signing, encrypting, and decrypting text, emails, files, directories, and whole disk partitions, and to increase the security of email communication. Phil Zimmerman developed PGP in '91. I know a lot of people that are a little bit more, well, quite a bit more savvy, run their own email using like PGP, but it didn't work for this guy. Or
Well, yeah.
as
So
we're
here
led to
it says
believe, I
security
guess.
quality. There's no known method which would allow a person to break it by cryptographic or computational methods, but it's on his computer. So essentially, if somebody was able to monitor his keystrokes and all that type of thing, they could essentially get to it. And so, the other thing is I don't know how much he lost. You know,
It's
he
supposed
was
to be about 200.
well, then somebody was saying that might have just been the whatchamacallit, the coin join value. But
I don't
I
think
don't know.
so. Because I don't think he even coin join. Well, I don't think they coin join it because Samurai has like if you go to Samurai Wallet or OXT on Twitter, they have so OXT is their chain analysis side, and I brought this up in spaces before. Basically, it's chain analysis so users can experience what their transactions look like on a transparent ledger. So you can actually see what like chain analysis the company is seeing when they're looking at the various peels and the movements of these funds.
Where
So
is
they
this?
were able to see this movement. And it didn't appear that it went through a coin join. I don't. Luke said it did. Not from what it was looking on there.
Yeah, because he gave an address, right? Yeah,
Yeah,
let's have some fun.
Yeah, Samurai, I love them guys, man. They don't really care for Luke too much, man. And they're just kind of sitting back and eating popcorn while the funds
You know,
make their way to various addresses.
I might have
Say
to
the
log
least.
in. I might have to log in to Mega Chunky Buns since he's probably not banned.
No, Mega. Yeah, it might
I
have been
do
the
that.
Litecoin that did it.
I get like whatever, because I'm a Litecoiner. Like obviously it's in my profile, and so I think sometimes that's all it takes is they see that that's the case. You know. Here,
Yeah.
let me go back to. Let me just go to us for a second while I search for this stuff. Yeah, it'd be kind of interesting to go through the address, see if we can see what actually happened. I can't believe I mean, like, I don't think I've blocked anybody yet. I've muted people. You know, I have yet to block people because I'm like, I don't know, I kind of feel like it's a slippery slope, maybe.
Sure.
And I've muted people I like too. Sometimes I'm just like, enough.
Take a break.
I need a break. Okay, so hang on, I found here. Let's hang on a second. Clean this up a bit. All right, so he does have an address in here. It doesn't look like a Bitcoin address though. Let me bring this back up again.
Might have been something with the PGP.
What would this be? That looks like a private key. It's not a Bitcoin address. This just happened, right? Like a couple days ago. Yeah.
About a week ago.
Here we go. So he says it looks like it was coin joined.
That's what he said at first.
But I think the other thing that's funny is, he came out. Why do I always forget the phrase I'm looking for? The oh, you can't even see my screen right now. I thought you could see it. Sorry. The what do we call it? The block explorer. I don't know why that phrase always.
Yeah.
If you guys don't do this is kind of interesting. So I'm looking for the day where like publicly available chain analysis. I feel like that's going to be around the corner, and that'll be the jarring thing. I'm amazed when I look at these Ethereum guys like Zach. You watch that Zach XBT, I think it is. You ever watch his Twitter feed? And he goes through these Ethereum guys, and since Ethereum is just one address, he can find everything. You know what I'm saying? You can see when they bought, when they sold, all these pump and dump guys.
Sure.
Oh, there's 2 blockchains.
That's interesting. Go pull up oxt.me. Check that out.
oxt.meme, M-E-M-E?
M-E.
You're talking about? Here, let me zoom that in a bit. Are you talking about this?
Yeah, it's just oxt.me.
M-E, okay. Trusting you. Yeah. You're not putting a bug on my computer. I don't have any. See, I don't keep coins. I do have Litecoin Core on this computer, but it's got like a Litecoin in it. So.
all types of malware spewing. Yeah.
I know. I do have one computer that's like old. I probably need to upgrade it, but I've had it. I mean, literally, it's probably 15 years old. And that's where I keep all my. I don't hardwire. You know what I mean? I'm almost never on it. That's what I do with my crypto stuff. Oh, all right. That's similar. What's the difference in this? It tells you everything, huh?
Yeah, you can do quite a bit on here. But, this is obviously it's developed by Samurai, privacy oriented. So, But I'm pretty sure they got the address on one of their posts.
Well, the crazy part too is, what the heck, FBI?
Oh yeah, for sure. You got it.
I'm gonna zoom these in a bit.
FBI, Frank, Bob, and Ingrid.
Well, that kind of brings up an interesting conversation, because that Bruce Fenton, he was. I don't know if you know. I'm sure you know who he is. He ran for Congress or something. He's an interesting character. I haven't looked a lot into what he does, but I know he likes Litecoin at least. And he was kind of in a debate about, should there be a way for the chain, block or Bitcoin, to forcibly move these coins like under some sort of court order, which was interesting. I mean, I find it interesting, like, if you could prove, could miners do it voluntarily, I think would be a different conversation.
How the fuck is that going to happen?
I don't know.
Well, not,
I mean, you'd have to have a lot of them to do it, right?
Well, because, I mean, you can't, you got to sign the transaction. I mean, there's not, there's
true.
If this was able to be reneged on or clawed back,
right,
then we got to fucking move on. We're in the wrong game, man. It's bad enough that it's a transparent ledger and people KYC themselves into it. Is what it is. That's my perspective, guys, and gals. But it's censorship resistance, immutable, right? I mean, if somebody can just look at the blockchain and reverse the transaction without signing, man, I mean, we're through Magoo.
Well, that's what someone was arguing with him, and it was it was a fairly prominent Bitcoiner. And I think it's interesting when you have people take that perspective. Like I'm with you. Like I almost don't even think of it as a possibility. Like once it's done, it's done. Unless you can find the person that did it, and they have the keys, and they through some sort of force or threat of violence say, "Yeah, okay, I'll do it." But
Right.
if that guy decides to go to jail for whatever and never give up those keys, then for the idea that like the miners or the blockchain could be changed, I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean the moment that happens, I mean you lose it all. I mean, there would be no use in this technology if that was a possibility. I mean, so what is it going to take for whomever to bend a knee or to crumble under a little bit of pressure? So this is supposed to be removing third parties, and we're going to let third parties come in and change transaction history. I mean, that's not what this is about.
Yeah, I think it was something where people were kind of calling on the devs to find a way to make this possible, right?
Right.
Whatever that might be.
These are people that are in the wrong fucking thing. I mean, I think they meant to stay in the fiat dollar, in the digital banking system, because that's not how this works over here.
It is the Wild West. You got to be prepared, right? Don't put
it
was one thing to put your coins in a whatever this PGP, but to put all of them in there, which makes you think he must have way more than just that couple hundred.
Yeah, I don't know about the guy, man, to be quite honest. Apparently, and I can't speak too much on him. I just know I wasn't really a big fan of some of his takes. He has a religious fervor about his ways, as far as like literally, like he's kind of guided by, hardcore Christian or Catholic perspectives, which, look, whatever makes you happy in life, that's fine. But it drives his, I guess, his strategy as far as Bitcoin goes. And the thing is he was supposedly talking about how poor he was and this and this and that, and he recently just remodeled his house, and now 200 Bitcoin come up missing. So
it's interesting here. Go ahead.
It's not out of the question. It's not out of the question. That this character here, it could have been his boating accident, I guess, right? Or who knows, right? I mean, we just trusting this dude talking on Twitter about how he lost some coins. But yeah, for him to shout out the FBI like that, I mean, I think that when you're involved into this space, you probably should come with the conclusion that it's no different than if you were holding physical cash or gold or silver bars and coins on you, and somebody takes that shit. Yeah, I mean, I guess you could go to the FBI and ask for help, but I'm not sure what they're going to be able to do about it.
Yeah, again, you'd have to figure out who the person was that did it. I'm sure they're not just going to be publicly available. But what's interesting about this is these coins went in supposedly. I mean, from what I can tell, this address was created on December 31st. Mm-hmm. And then 4 days later, they all disappear.
Yeah, Luke might have been.
Well, unless maybe he's saying this is the address. This might be the address they went to. Maybe that's what he's saying.
Yeah, he might have had too many communion shots
You're
that
ruthless,
night,
dude.
and forfeit, splurged a little bit of information to a close relative or friend or somebody, let's say, and um, you know.
Oh, right. Yeah. Yeah. It's all, there was somebody who, I don't know if you saw, like they posted, there's some Litecoiners posting like screenshots of their stack. And I'm like, you don't need to be doing that. You know what I'm saying? What happened to his BCH? Oh, there's no BCH in that account.
He
Speaking
got
of
rid of it.
BCH,
Huh?
I know that I went on that BCH podcast. There's some good dudes actually. I like them. I think they're an interesting group because I thought was funny is so on Wednesday that guy came in, Jeremy from the Bitcoin Cash podcast, and he was like, we asked him about merge mining, and that's something we've talked about with Bitcoin Cash, and he's like, well, hey, the dream is that like the price starts to flip, mining starts to flip, and Bitcoin Cash wins, right? And I thought that was an interesting response, and I've been thinking a lot about it, because it brings back to that tribalism thing. Like to me, there's still a level in their mind of victory is more important than anything else. Like to me, survival is the most important thing. What's that?
What circle? The Bitcoin circle? Or
Bitcoin Cash. Bitcoin Cash. Like they want to win. They want to be like, look, we were right, you were wrong, and we're going to become the 99% hash rate, and you're going to become the 1%. And I'm not necessarily saying they're right or wrong. They might be right. That's the right strategy. I don't know if merge mining, in my mind, if I were in that community, that's what I would be going for. I'd be like, look, survival is number one. We got, no matter what it takes, we got to find a way to make sure that we don't become smaller and smaller. Because I don't know if you pay attention, you talked about you're going to start mining, but when you kind of dig into, do you? Okay. When you dig into these different coins, you start to see like, man, there's very little activity, and it would, as an investor, that would be something that gives me a little apprehension. But at the same time, I guess, that's what we talked about. If you want to go watch that podcast, I thought it was kind of interesting because they were at least open about it. I just think it's just an interesting decision. And, Doge made the opposite decision, and look where they are,
Yeah, it's I don't know. There is a Bitcoin Cash person, and I mean it's just Twitter, but they were basically saying Litecoin ain't shit and blah blah blah. And so like when you pull up the stats and you look at 24-hour transaction volume, year transaction value, addresses created, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, Litecoin just demolishes Bitcoin Cash. And I mean, the usage is what matters to me. So, the reply was that, oh, well, these metrics are minute or trivial. And so thus they're kind of irrelevant. But, I think that, if it works, work it.
Yeah, I got no problem with Bitcoin Cash. I mean, I gotta say, it was pretty cool, man. He sent me he was like, hey, after every stream, we split the donations. And I mean, it was like $1 or $2, right? But, he sent it, and it was like, boom. It's just so fun to use the technologies, especially when he's in Australia and I'm in the United States, and it's like instant,
right?
Completely permissionless stuff.
Sure.
Well, here's a couple privacy things you might find interesting. So I was in a couple different spaces this week. One was a privacy is 2023 the year of the privacy coin, and of course it was basically a Monero space, and but it was interesting. Somebody came up and started asking about Mimblewimble, and they talked about Mimblewimble coin. They talked about Grin. They talked about Beam. They didn't even. It's like they weren't even aware this was on Litecoin yet. So I got up and talked a little bit about it, and I think that community Monero's a Monero community. It's this tribalism thing, that isn't. It's an interesting thing that's just in general. I want to talk about it, but
Sure.
I think I was in there, and then I went into a Thor chain one yesterday, and they had some developers in there, and they're running actually the right nodes. I asked him, I said, "Are you guys running full nodes on Litecoin or not?" And he said they are running full nodes. I said, "Man, would it be possible to start enabling MWeb, even just deposits and withdrawals, not necessarily trading within MWeb, but just the ability to do that?" And they were pretty apprehensive about anything privacy related, which I thought was interesting. They said that they still aren't decentralized enough, essentially, that they feel comfortable exposing themselves to potential risks. That might be the best way to put it. So I don't know. I'm gonna try to find a way to at least get that going from them. So I'm not a developer at all. At all. I couldn't
Yeah.
do the simplest thing as far as reading code or anything. So I did reach out to David. So maybe that's some stuff going on, but on the privacy front. But yeah, I asked him about, they talked about. I said, "You guys are Thor." I said, "The Monero clan's not very happy with you." He's like, "Oh, really?" I'm like, "Well, yeah. I mean, I heard you're gonna do something, then you kind of stopped because you were essentially, like you would say, bending the knee, right?"
What's this? What is this?
Thor chain.
Oh,
So they were going to add
yeah.
Monero, and then I think they just got real apprehensive. And in a way, I kind of understand it. Like their goal is survival, right? Make sure the thing operates long enough, gets decentralized enough over time, because they run on a few nodes, like master nodes, and so I think there must be some of the nodes must be under the purview of the U.S. government. You know what I mean? So they're apprehensive to add a lot of privacy.
Interesting.
Have you ever used it before?
No, I haven't used ThorChain. I haven't used that.
You should check it out. Maybe I'll do like a tutorial someday. It's pretty cool. I mean, you can do swaps completely anonymously. And it's funny, they were like talking about, oh, well, this is, just for have a place to go to switch Bitcoin and Monero and Litecoin, or Bitcoin and Litecoin anonymously. I was like, well, you can just in Cake Wallet, you can do that right now. They're like, oh, really? They weren't even aware of that. So, all right.
One that I like a whole lot is Majestic Bank.
Oh yeah, you brought them up before.
It's the lowest fees that I've seen. There's no risk of shotgun KYC, and you can go between Bitcoin, Litecoin, and Monero.
You're gonna make me go again. Hold on.
It's a fantastic option. That and SideShift AI is another one I've
Shapeshift or SideShift?
SideShift.
Oh. Yeah, I think I've heard of this.
Yeah, Majestic Bank.
Maybe this is who Cake Wallet uses?
No, they don't use that, to my understanding. It's fixed float, and I think SideShift is what they use.
Oh, dang.
If I'm not mistaken.
We're one of the four.
Yeah.
Wow. What is Narrow?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think it's I don't know. Maybe it's just Monero's meme coin, or at least the community's adoption of that. But
oh, look, exchange is not available for U.S. residents.
No, well, see, you know what you got to do though, right?
No, I'm a U.S. resident.
Nah, well,
you're not though, right?
Well, I'm not gonna say what you got to do, but
you're part of the metaverse.
Let's just say if you had a VPN, things might work out.
So where can you do it? What countries do you have to be from? Do you know?
In a VPN, that's where you do it from.
Well, but you can't VPN and say you're in the United States. You got to say you're in like what, the Bahamas or something?
Yeah, I haven't
You don't know. Yeah.
I
Living next
haven't
door
had
to
a
Sam Bankman-Fried.
denial. Yeah, yeah.
All right, man. Let's see.
Yeah.
What else
Well, I
we
mean, look, that just like that. I mean, that's a great example of, I mean, listen, I'm living my life, right? I'm not out here doing criminal activity, and I'm not hurting anybody. I should have the ability to do what I want with my funds when I want. So, for somebody, just because I'm in a certain jurisdiction, wants to try to block me from using a useful and economicable tool. There are ways to navigate that, and I'm going to take full advantage of it. And I think that that's just bullshit. So, you know,
right.
I support and am grateful for those that do create the tools that we have. And it's not just something like this. I mean, it's various things. I mean, you could be getting price gouged trying to get a flight somewhere, based on your jurisdiction. You switch your IP address and you'd be amazed the savings. It's like you got a fucking coupon.
Really? Why is that?
Absolutely. It's just I guess the market allows them to charge what they charge when you're from a certain place. But if you're in a different locale, you can catch it at a lower rate. But yeah, Lily, I know you kind of familiar with. I believe you are, but she's like a privacy chick on Twitter. She had a pretty good thread on some of the
The
benefits of
Markets by
VPN.
Lily or something? Is that who she is?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I
So
know. It's like when you get paid. Like I've worked at companies where the same job title, but if I'm in Ohio. Like cost of living is a lot less than LA, right? So you do the same
right.
job, you get paid like half of what they get paid, which I
Mm,
guess I get it. Whatever. They're just being competitive for the market, but maybe it's the same concept. They
right.
figure, or they're trying to like lure people in who live in certain parts of the country to start using an airline or something.
Sure.
But all right. Yeah, I don't know. You can stay or go. You don't feel obligated to me. I had a couple of things. Yeah, I was going to bring up here. Let's bring up this lady.
Oh, the Italiano.
Well, there are a few things I pulled up. Hang on a second. Here's the thing I don't know, because I was going to watch Joe Rogan and I was going to watch this lady. I don't know if I play another YouTube video. I know there's like react videos out there. As you know, famously, I hosted the MWeb launch and I played Tupac at the end, and it got the video blocked for like 3 days
Wow.
till we rectified it. But so I don't know if this would end up getting this thing taken down at some point. Let me pull this up. Hold on.
I think all you have to say or type is, "I do not own the rights." Maybe not.
No, that's not true, because I was like, there are actually. Let me see if I can play them somehow. There are songs that you're allowed to use that are not like anything good. I mean, I don't. So like here, let me see if I don't know if you're gonna be able to hear this or not. Let me look at audio. Hang on. Tell me if you can hear this. What? Audio track is unavailable. I just played it last night. What?
You get shut down left and right.
Do you hear that at all?
Yeah, I heard that.
Huh?
Yeah, it was like a swoosh or something.
Oh, hang on. So you did hear that, right?
Yeah,
Was it like coming through the mic, or was it like
seemed
straight
like it
up?
was coming from your computer.
Oh, so it was good and loud.
No, it wasn't.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah. So it's coming from the speaker to like, all right.
Speaker. Yeah, yeah.
I think I probably have to have it, but apparently there's a whole list of music you can play. But they're pretty, I don't know. You could probably get away with some stuff, because I've watched some guys who will play like real lightly in the background, because I want to have some music, because I feel like just dead silence is no good. But anyway, all right, I'm detracting from. Will I get banned for this video? Let's share this. Let's see if I can do this. I am a tech lord here. Oh yeah, I think I'm going to take this audio. Well, I'll just play it. Whatever. Can you?
I don't hear anything.
All right, that's what I got to figure out. Hold on a minute. Settings. This might not. This maybe I can't do this. That would suck. Let's see here. Share system audio. There we go. Now I got it. You know,
You're getting there.
I'm getting there, dude. This is what I wanted this to be, like a dry run, you know? What the frick? Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I agree with Joseph there. I'm just looking at the comments for the first time. Can't expect FBI or government to help unless willing to have them in your pockets.
Well, it's almost very similar to that first article we talked about, Bank of America, right? Like,
Yeah.
what's the FBI going to do? Go to the mining pools?
Oh man,
And say, hey,
that's no bueno.
no bueno. Hey, we got 11 people. That's pretty good. Are people even? I figured we'd have one, to be honest. All right.
Yeah.
I'm just glad. I like this time slot. All right, let me get this back up again. All right, let's watch this girl. This woman. I shouldn't. I do that too much, man. I use the word lady or girl. Like, she's kind of a badass, if you ask me.
Questo si chiama
Now you're
franco
good?
CFA.
Yep.
È la moneta coloniale che la Francia stampa per 14 nazioni africane, alle quali applica il signo e in forza delle quali sfrutta le risorse di questa nazione. Questo è un bambino che lavora in una miniera d'oro in Burkina Faso. Il Burkina Faso è una delle nazioni più povere del mondo. Per il Burkina Faso, che ha l'oro, la Francia stampa moneta coloniale.
So I'm going to pause this because I might use this audio later. But yeah, so essentially she's saying France prince, and I looked this up, this colonial franc. It's called the Central Francois something or other, something in French. And that is the money that Burkina Faso, and actually there's like 13 countries. I was surprised how widespread this is. It's basically most of Central and Western Africa uses these. There's two separate currencies, but essentially they operate the same way. And yeah, so I don't know if they're forced to use that kind of money. I'm guessing life would be made very difficult if they chose to get out of this system. But all right, and so she's got a picture of this kid mining gold in Burkina Faso.
In cambio pretende che finiscano nelle casse del tesoro francese il 50% di tutto quello che il Burkina Faso esporta. L'oro che questo bambino si infila in un cunicolo per tirare fuori finisce per lo più nelle casse dello Stato francese. Allora la soluzione non è prendere gli africani e spostarli in Europa. La soluzione è liberare l'Africa da certi europei che la sfruttano e consentire a queste persone di vivere di quello che hanno.
Whew.
Yeah, she got heated there. Yeah.
It's just like where it just makes you laugh at our politicians, you know, like where is that fire?
Oh, yeah. There's a emotion. I mean, there's a human being in there. I don't know. I mean, it is rare to see that these days. That guy in Canada is kind of similar to that as well. I forget his name, but yeah, there was a pretty funny clip with him, and they're asking about the cost of living or how much to purchase a house. I don't know if you saw that, but
yeah, what's his name? Paul? Like, is it Pierre or something? Starts with a P.
I think,
like
yeah, Richard or something.
No, it's not Pierre Rochard. I don't like that guy. that's a Bitcoiner.
Okay,
but anyway.
But yeah, France. It's the guy, the leader of France.
Macron.
Yeah, he macaroni. Yeah, he didn't have some two nice things to say about her. And so she's been on a tear though, digging into the French for sure.
Well, it's a similar. I mean, it's not quite as extreme as like what I think. We talk about El Salvador not having their own currency and using the dollar. It's similar in that sense that they're kind of at the mercy of whatever we choose to do with our dollar. They're, they have no say in it whatsoever. So it literally is that taxation without representation, right? When you're inflating their money. So these are the different areas, and essentially, and this actually kind of interesting. This is why I like digging into this stuff sometimes. So there's a West African franc that covers, looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 countries maybe. Which and
then you got the central.
Yeah, you know what? It says the West African colonies and territories are using the CFA franc were these. Maybe they don't. Maybe it doesn't exist anymore. I don't know why it says were, but it's interesting. That's where Charlie's from. Charlie Lee, Ivory Coast. Then you got a handful here in Central. So I found this article, and this was interesting to me. This is a fact check about her claim, and then it essentially just goes over what she said, and actually I thought this was interesting. This is that Dylan LeClaire. I don't know if you follow him on Twitter. I think he's a pretty interesting follow. He's a young guy, but he brings up a lot of good stuff. But it's interesting they blocked out his Twitter account. It's like, don't go.
Really?
Don't you dare look at. Yeah, this is Yahoo, right? So something has changed in this. But what I thought was interesting, they said in this article, at the time she made her claim, France required countries using the CFA franc to pool 50% of their foreign exchange reserves, not their exports, with two African central banks. In return, a guaranteed exchange rate. France didn't demand 50% of everything Burkina Faso exports. And they were trying to make it like this is the lie, right? But what they do say is you have to keep 50% of your foreign exchange reserves in their bank. So if you took that gold and you sold it for something, so again, I go down the rabbit hole. What's a foreign exchange reserve? Essentially, this is saying any sort of cash or gold that your country has. So if they took the gold and sold it for cash, half the cash has to go to the central bank we're talking about. So it's essentially the same thing, right? But they're trying in this article to say this is the lie, that they don't actually have to take their exports and they don't actually take the gold and give it to France. They don't take the minerals and send it to France. They just have to keep the money there. So I thought that was interesting. And these fact checkers are crafty, man. Crafty people.
Yeah.
And then it says, France isn't even the top 5 destinations that they export in total value. Their leading export being gold. Again, trying to paint it as if Burkina Faso doesn't even send anything to France. This lady's full of shit. But they do send half their money. So, like, essentially, that's the same thing. Just the way the double speak, man. I hate it.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean it's a continent that has been pilfered and prostituted out by a lot of its own people, and of course foreign governments coming in and doing what they do. And that's where like a digital cash-like instrument gives agency to people all over the world, to conduct, especially in a digital age, to be able to have some type of an online revenue of sorts, when your currency is worthless, and you can utilize the various tools. Cryptocurrency serves that purpose, and I mean that's one of the main reasons it's here.
Yeah. Here, I'll put this in the comments. You guys can do your own digging. I guess just don't take articles at their face value ever. Because I tried to go in that said somewhere here it said like according to reports. And it had a link, and I went to click on it, and you couldn't even. It led to nothing. It was like a dead link. Yeah, according to news reports. So I clicked on this, and it doesn't exist. All right.
Well, that could be another potential. I mean, I'm not saying for sure, but an IP situation. I mean, like literally, there are sites or links or things that your government does not want you to see. There's definitely things that I've gone to where I've had to go ahead and switch jurisdictions. I mean, this is, when power is given, and the decentralization of a technology is has gone to the wayside. I mean, the game is over. And that's why it's imperative that this technology, crypto, stays the way it is and doesn't get neutered. But
it's interesting to me that you said earlier, like they can obviously dial in your location for, we want to do exchange on Majestic Bank. Can't be done. You want to buy plane tickets, and they're going to be cheaper from one than another. That's probably their business, I'm guessing, but they very much can pinpoint where you are, and they can filter what you're allowed to see and what you're not allowed to see.
Right.
And I think that's one of those things, like, I just continue to always remind myself, like, don't be naive, right? The governments and probably businesses are very willing to filter your information based on whatever suits them. And businesses often, on, as we're seeing with like these Twitter files, like at the behest of the governments, are very, very willing. I mean, almost with no resistance at all, because they're in a permissioned system, right? And life can be made more difficult for them if they don't just comply, right? And they probably don't get a lot of pushback. I don't imagine. I would say the majority of people, the police come in and say, "Hey, I need this information," or, we need you to shut down these sites from being able to be seen by American citizens. There's terrorist activity, or it's dangerous. You know what I mean? They just get whatever justification. Most people go, "Oh yeah, I don't want to support terrorism." Like, of course, right? Give me the list. I'll block it for everybody. And so, that's, I don't have a VPN. I'm the bad guy. I'm the knee bender over here. Meta.
Yeah. Bender G knee here, folks. You
ever watch Futurama? Bender. And what's his name? You ever watch that show?
I've seen it, but I don't know the guy. I don't know the character.
Well, Bender's his name. I'm gonna look it up because it cracks me up. His full name is like Bender Bendington.
It's something
his middle name is Bending. Bender Bending Rodriguez.
Okay.
That show is good. Like, I haven't watched it in a long time, but I was telling my wife, there's certain people that, like, maybe I don't laugh all the time at them. Like, they don't make me consistently laugh, but like make me laugh the hardest. That show's one that just cracks me up sometimes. They're so clever. That's probably one of my favorite. I tend to like the people that can really make me laugh, and that show's pretty damn good.
Yeah,
Bending Rodriguez. You got to know him. He drinks and smokes cigars and shit. He's hilarious. All right. Well, again, I don't know if I want to get into depressing stuff or not. What's exciting? You know what I was gonna do? I'm the worst, dude. What's a good site to look at? I was actually gonna look at price. I decided we're gonna talk about price on this show because people want to see it. They want to know what's gonna happen to Litecoin. So, what's a good? I mean, what do you use? Do you look at charts on the You're not a chart watcher.
I mean, usually, like, yeah, I really don't look at it much at all, but I'll pull up like CoinMarketCap. What's the one that's got all the statistics I shared the other day?
Oh, like the Litecoin transactions and stuff.
Yeah, I was when I was comparing Bitcoin Cash and Litecoin.
I found that if you look for Litecoin, it's a block. There's only one that really does it. BitInfo charts tends to be the best of this.
Let's see if that's it.
I'm trying to make this a little bigger.
While you're pulling that, I mean, yeah, I gotta say, I mean, that cake implementation. I mean, these guys over there. If anybody that's watching this, I mean, if you haven't downloaded the Cake wallet, I mean, you're missing out. You know, you can literally walk into a business, and of course, I mean, it's kind of limited, but you know, Best Buy, Lowe's, or you know, there's a handful. You can literally walk into the business, have an item in your hand, scan it. They'll tell you the total. I just walk up to the register with my wallet in my hand, ready to put in the amount, and within 10 seconds, you got the gift card, and boom, bam, man, it's done. You know, that's literally turning this magical internet currency speech into a tangible item. You know, bravo to those folks over there, man.
I did this. I mean, you saw that video I did a few weeks ago, right? Where he swiped left.
Yeah.
What is this one? Cake Pay web cards.
Yeah.
Like BitRefill.
Yeah, that one's more extensive, but you know, I don't see Litecoin as an option on that one. And I shot him a message saying, you know, hey, what's up? You guys gonna put Litecoin? But that one there, you know, it'll allow you to purchase Visa prepaid cards, and the list of merchants is extensive on there. But obviously, you know me, I mean, I love Monero. And I love Bitcoin too, as well as Litecoin. I use the tools, man. But
it would be what I would say is, you know, they actually, like, for a short time were sponsored my show, and I met those guys at the summit, and they're very, very cool guys. They did share a statistic recently for like usage on the Cake Pay, and it was very low for Litecoin.
For sure.
Which I was a little disappointed, but I understand, like, you know, you can only use so many apps for so many different things. Obviously, Litecoiners must be using BitPay like crazy, and choosing that over Cake Pay. And Cake Pay is only in the US, right? So that may have something to do with it as well. Maybe that might actually be that might be a little evidence right there. You got in the US, Litecoin isn't as vibrant of a community as maybe outside the US. I don't know what BitPay is. BitPay everywhere?
Yeah, I'm not sure, but the Cake Pay is they've opened it up to quite a few areas now. I don't know if the Cake Pay versus the Cake Web is different as far as the offering, but it's definitely because the homie Tux has access now, and you know, he's pretty excited. So they've opened it up, but the thing is that, you know, the Cake wallet is something that's you know, it's Monero based for the most part, and of course you got Bitcoin and Litecoin, but you know, people are going to be more privacy centric with their transactions. So, you know, that's why I was just posting to them, like, hey man, I mean, if they ever implement like Whirlpool for Bitcoin and MWeb, I mean, it's through Magoo, man. I mean, game over at that point. Like, if you're able to just do a coin join for Bitcoin in there, and then you got mass coin joins for Litecoin, I mean, it's definitely privacy. But yeah, I mean, I'm not shocked to see, you know, those numbers on Cake. I think it's worthwhile there.
I can show these in here. I didn't realize that. So Crypto Noob says that is not in Europe. So for CakePay. So that's interesting because I'm looking at BitPay. They're in Austria, Belgium, basically all of Europe. And that might be kind of some evidence that maybe Litecoin is used more overseas, where in the U.S. maybe it isn't. Because I even Get Hedge, he's been in, David Schwartz is obviously involved with them from the Litecoin Foundation, and they've kind of said to me, the Litecoin in the U.S. isn't as vibrant maybe as they expect it to be when you look at the on-chain statistics. So maybe outside the U.S. is where Litecoin's be, which kind of you'd expect, right? The people that are actually using it because they need to use it aren't going to pay whatever 35 cents to move money. So that's the same thing that BRD Wallet said about in Africa and Latin America, Litecoin is the preferred choice for day-to-day transactions. And that press release they did when they added it. So, but yeah, I mean, going back to CakePay, I've used it at Bob Evans, AutoZone, bought some pizza with it. I forget where that was, some more local place, but it's got some, I'd say it's mostly national chains and it's a lot of restaurants. So
yeah.
Oh, in the theater. I used it in the movie theater. And the other things you save like 2 or 3% every time. So actually when I went to AutoZone, I was like, I bought some windshield wipers. They ended up not fitting. And I got the discount. Huh?
No, I said flat out. They didn't fit, huh?
Oh, dude. I don't know why. I have an old Volkswagen and I had to buy some on Amazon, and 2 of the 3 didn't fit from Amazon either, even though they said so I don't know what the hell's going on. Like I have some sort of different connection mechanism. But anyway, they, so I returned them and I got the full credit. So I paid like $50 to get $53 in windshield wipers or whatever the percentage was. And then when I return, I get a full gift card for the $53. So I basically made $3 just by maybe that's a scam. Maybe that's how we windshield wiper exchange. 3% at a time. 3% at a time.
Wow.
There was something I was going to tell you about. Damn it. You were talking about CakePay. What was the other service you were talking about?
Well, so there's the CakePay and then the Cake Web.
MWeb. Yeah, that's what I wanted to bring up. Yes, CakePay or CakeWallet has a web wallet now. Is that right?
Well, I don't think so. It's basically the Cake Web is where you can do like the prepaid Visa cards and the merchant access is a whole lot more. And they opened that up to 140 countries. And I mean, depending on where you're at in Europe, I mean, it's available in the Czech Republic, Denmark, Estonia, Finland, France, Germany, so I think Crypto Noob, you might want to check out, if you have the Cake Wallet, go check out the Cake Web, not the Cake Pay. There should be 2 options there. Slovak Republic, Slovenia, Switzerland, Sweden. So yeah, I mean, this most recent offering, I guess, if you will, was a big one. It was a big one. 140 plus countries, including the United States.
All right. Well, hey, I put up here, since you might find this interesting, and I'm trying to find out if Cake is working on this with the foundation. So mobile MWeb is nearly just a click away. 2 week, the famous 2 weeks, right?
Oh yeah. to slow the curve. Is that the
no? Well, that back in 2017, it was always everything was 2 weeks away
to stop the spread, right? No.
Yeah, Jesus, man. Did you see that? Let's go down the COVID road for just a second, but the new variant that's out in that video with Jimmy Fallon or something was singing some song about it, and I'm just like, Jesus.
There's a new variant.
Yeah. Oh, I'll look. Let's watch. Remind me so I don't forget. But I thought this was exciting because I didn't realize we were this close to potentially mobile MWeb, which I think is a big game changer, right?
What's the hold on? What's the site? What's the site you're at?
Oh, this is the Litecoin Foundation.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is something they put out. So you should get on their mailing list. I mean, they'll send you an email once a month, and just has articles and stuff on it. Which, by the way, their website looks so much better. I think that Robbie Coleman does it. He's done it. It looks sleek now. But yeah, it says they're working with wallet developers. I should be able to get this last piece coded out, review this month. This is September. After that, we'll look at creating a new release with those changes and then start working with third-party wallet developers to hopefully get MWeb added to all major Litecoin wallets. All of them is pretty aggressive. But if we could get, I think even 2 or 3, and that's what I told the Thorchain guys. I said, look, if you can get this, like that's what a difference maker. You'd be the only exchange taking MWeb, you know?
Well, look, it's like I was saying in the post, you know, let's not be kidding ourselves, right? Fungibility on Litecoin only exists in Mimblewimble, right? Yep. You know, I mean, you know, and same with Zcash, you know, I was saying, you know, the fully shielded is fungible. Anything other than that, you know, if you're on the vanilla chain, you know, these coins have personalities and history and traits that are going to follow till kingdom come. And they can be scrutinized and accepted or denied, you know. So I don't see why somebody would choose not to participate in the Mimblewimble extension block, you know. For those that are you know, that have the white paper ethos and believe in, you know, the removal of third parties and peer-to-peer and you know, a circular economy. We don't need to interact with centralized exchanges.
I didn't realize that was on video. My bad.
What was that?
I was clicking around. I was sharing the link to this thing, but yeah, no, I think so too, and I'm hopeful for basically a point where we separate, where people just are barely using, you know, or 80% of the usage on Litecoin is inside MWeb. I do think at some point you're going to have MWeb only wallets, which, you know, if you're a developer out there, like, develop that, because that to me makes things. Then there's no worry about like mixing the coins or like you're blending in a on-chain. We got to figure out what to call the different, like, we know what to call MWeb. We need to call a normal transparent chain Litecoin transaction.
That's a Litecoin surveillance.
But you know, something that doesn't sound like I feel like keep saying like the white market or the transparent chain, which maybe that's a good way of putting it. But anyway. Yeah. All right. What I tell you to remind me. Oh yeah, Jimmy Fallon. I'm gonna find this. You're gonna freak out. It's the saddest shit ever.
Yeah, but thanks for sharing that, because that's encouraging. That's spicy, as it is in the article about the
zesty. Is it zesty? Oh, it does say spicy. Okay. Yeah. So, and then in October he says the code is out for review, right? Yeah. It was designed for light clients, can request UTXOs in batches. Well, and I was trying to explain to the guys from Thorchain, I said, you know, you wouldn't even need to know all you need, like when you send on chain, so they could send from an on chain transparent wallet, and it's just going to that MWeb block. So there is an on chain receiving address. So you don't even need to, like, literally your hands are clean. You can just say, look, I don't know. The guy requested a withdrawal. I sent it. Right. There's no, I don't have to click a button. I don't have to opt in. I don't have to even verify that I even know what's going on.
Right.
Another, I think, real genius part of what Charlie and David did. I mean, I almost feel like it's all David's work, but Charlie kind of gave him the guidance of what he wanted to see. Because that, like, to me, that really blends the fungibility of the plausible deniability of, like, both sides of the transaction could say, look, I don't know. I just requested, right? Or I sent what they asked for. I don't know the technology of what's going on. So it makes even people who are good actors, we'll call that, right? White market actors. Yeah, good's a bad word.
Pussies. No.
But whatever, it's a business.
I know.
People got to follow rules, right? They're not doing anything wrong. They're not trying to be bad people, right? They're just saying, like, hey, I got to.
Hey, it ain't bad to transact in MWeb, man.
Well, right. That's what I'm saying. So, but if it's viewed like the people that are doing everything following whatever rules they've been told, they're tracking all the transactions, they're open with their transaction history. If they're suddenly roped into this murky area, then I think fungibility comes from when everybody's guilty. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't come from we've isolated the guilty parties. I think when you've infected everybody with this, like, you could be a part of the problem, then then nobody's getting respect that. You know what I'm saying? So, like, you call everybody, it's like calling everybody racist, right? It loses its meaning over time because you've now blurred the line. You don't even know, there's no definition. There's no, like, clear understanding of what is it you're even talking about. And I think the same thing happens when, like I've mentioned, this stuff with NFTs and, like, these gaming coins, and you bring in so many people under this umbrella of potentially criminal activity or operating privately in a fungible manner, then it becomes like it's a mass coin join, the massest of coin joins. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Look, I'm with you in the short term, protect your privacy, but I think that MWeb does that where it touches everybody in the ecosystem. So are they going to decide that this massive, widely accepted coin that's obviously second in popularity is going to all of a sudden be shut down? I think there's a bigger fight for that. It's harder to do that. And I hope CoinJoin on Bitcoin grows, because it kind of then touches everybody in the ecosystem, and they're not going to shut down Bitcoin at this point.
Yeah.
I don't think it's doable because it's reached such a scale.
Well, that's where, like with Whirlpool, the Ricochet is a great tool to provide that distance, if you will. I mean, one shouldn't have to, right? I don't believe that one should, but let's say if you did want to interact with a centralized entity, how many hops is good for them, right? I mean, how, if you're 5 hops away from a coin join or a Mimblewimble transaction, I mean, how are you going to assume the person you're vetting is the person that participated in that? So with these, such as Ricochet, you create distance from the protocol. At that point, it's unless they're gonna scrutinize every transaction. I mean, you can't say somebody that's 5 or 6 hops away from a coin join is the one that did the coin join. I mean, that would be, we'd be blacklisting coins left and right.
Yeah, in reality, like when you think about Bitcoin in general, as we all know, the limiting factor is that capacity, right? But if you could truly just coin join every transaction, that's And I know you guys are Monero guys. It's essentially what Monero's doing, right, with the ring signatures, in a way, and that's what ultimately MWeb will do. Is it'll be every transaction you send is part of a coin join.
Yeah.
And then then you've made everybody. That's your anonymity set. Is every single user of MWeb, which is completely impossible, and everyone around the world. It's not just inside the United States, So
Sure. Yeah.
I think that part of it, that's why I want to see default MWeb on a mobile app. And I think eventually we need to see it in cold storage. And I actually be interested to talk to Charlie about that. Charlie and David, how they feel about. I mean, it's still very young. I think they're both very cautious guys, and they would say, "Look, they've said don't put a significant portion of your assets on MWeb yet. Let it run its course." I think they know, like, it's got to, maybe that 50,000 that got deposited recently was a bit of a test, right? Like a bounty or bait to say, if this is crackable, come and get it. You know what I mean? Because I found that interesting in the launch party, that they were like, we can review and review and review, and we can test everything we think is bad. But if somebody's found an exploit, they're not going to tell us about it. Like, if they're a bad actor, they're going to keep it to themselves.
Right.
And they may wait. They may just sit there and wait a year or two and go, as soon as there's, I'm not going to freak everybody out about MWeb, but, wait till there's a few $1 million or $10 million on there, and then do whatever the hell they're going to do. I tend to trust those two guys. I know they did their due diligence. They did everything they could do. I can tell you that.
Yeah. I mean, there was, what is it? What, Quirks Lab that did the review on that, which is reputable.
Yeah, I have to read. There was a study done on Litecoin.
On MWeb, right?
Well, yeah.
Yeah, it's lengthy. It's pretty lengthy.
Yeah, I got to find it. I want to read that through. That would be want to talk about a boring live stream. I didn't think you were going to be here all that long, to be honest with you, Meta. If you got shit to do.
Yeah, probably got about another 30 minutes.
All right. Here, watch this, and then you're free to go. This will make you be like, what in the world? So your favorite song is probably Love Shack by B-52. It's a good B-52 song? No joke. I love with my kids is Rock Lobster. That song is a jam. All right. Let me pull this up. Now, see, I hope this doesn't this is where I don't know if this gets flagged.
Fuck it. Asking permission is seeking denial, bro.
That's an old sales thing, dude. It's easier to, it's everything. Easier to ask for permission or a forgiveness, right? I mean, this is talk about cringy content, bro. The song's bad. Everything's bad about this. Look, and look at the ad leading into it. Oh, that was good. All right.
I thought that was like Tesla hooking up their gas-powered vehicle.
In the Kia Sportage X.
In the desert.
Guys, I read about a new COVID variant that has some people worried. It's called XBB.1.5. I guess they couldn't think of a catchier name, and it actually inspired me to write a tiny song.
This would suck if this is why I get
There was Alpha, Beta, then Omicron next, but this latest variant might be the best. It's XBB.1.5. Another friend of COVID-19 has arrived. It's a new strain, but it isn't the same. Sounds more like Elon Musk's his name. It's XBB.1.5, not UB40 who sings red, red wine. Put on your mask when you're inside a facility. It could be a robot from a Star Wars trilogy. It's XBB.1.5, not OMG or...
So is this unbelievable?
Yeah, I'm sure he's at the restaurant with a mask on right now somewhere, right?
Oh, man. It's never going to go away. For 3 years. It's
Yeah.
been almost 3 years.
Yes, it has.
I-
Yes, it has. Little young
Oh.
toddlers can't learn how to talk, and fucking people on the couch eating potato chips, fucking leaving stains.
Stan, what's
I
that?
don't know.
That sounds like a very personal experience you just had. Even
Now
stains on my
this
damn
guy right
couch.
here, likes that vitamin D, baby. You know, when I had that
Yeah.
shit, it was 2 days that, you know, kind of felt crappy. But and look, I mean, I know it's different for people, but you know, they need to be advising people to maybe alter their diets and get some exercise in. You know, that might be helpful.
I'll tell you, I need to, man. I've been working from home now for like, I mean, really since 2020 for the most part. I've been working from home, and there's days I just not moving at all. Now I've got to definitely start incorporating some movement.
Yeah.
I did dumbbells. It's gonna do just dumbbells and look up some good exercises. So if anybody out there wants to give me a good regiment with just dumbbells, I'll take it. All right.
Just dumbbells.
Well, you know, I'm not. I try to join gyms, and I don't know. That's just not my culture at all. I don't know what it is. I don't like them. I mean, really, you should be able to do in what you go through your regiment. It shouldn't take you that long to just knock out a dumbbell routine, right? 20 minutes, maybe.
Yeah, you should get a punching bag, man. That shit's fucking awesome.
I thought about that. You know, I did for a while was virtual reality. You ever use that?
No, I haven't.
Dude, there's some of those games that like there's a boxing game, you will be gassed, like completely like, holy shit, you take that after like a couple rounds and you're swinging and swinging and swinging. Now, granted, you're not actually hitting anything. There's no strength there, but just cardio, pure cardio. There was one that I forget what it was called. It was like Racket NX or something like that. And it was like a version, it was almost like tennis, racquetball, and pinball. It was like you'd hit targets and it was totally 360, you know, you're turning around trying to hit things and you're swinging and yeah, just exhausted, dude. I would do that for about half hours, totally winded. So I can get back into that maybe. But you gotta have a space for it. That's the hard part.
Yeah, man, gonna be knocking out your kids and shit. You know what I mean?
No, I would do it in my garage, like in the winter, because it'd be nice and cool out there, a nice wide open spot. This is cool, dude. That's a worthwhile thing. I like VR. I haven't done it in a while, but I've liked it a lot. All right.
Yeah, it's like Fox with noise, jog around the block. I like to run. Not around the block, but usually I try to get about 3.5 in. And it's just like, oh man, I mean, it's a beautiful thing. I mean, especially, I mean, you maybe throw some tunes on, you just kind of digress in life, and it's just pretty simple, man. But you know, I think that a balance between this digital experience and what's real is absolutely necessary. Absolutely. And you know, I'm a big advocate for actual physical books. You know, I think that that's a healthy dose for all of us as well. I've been reading Childhood's End with my son. Have you ever read that?
No. What's it about?
No. I think it's CJ Author. I think is Arthur is the author of it. But yeah, it's basically, without kind of spoiling it, I mean, there's this entity that just shows up out of nowhere, and they're like extraterrestrials or what have you, and their presence alone, without even being seen, has shifted humanity's kind of response. So you know that mankind refers to them as the overlords. And they're able to do some things like you know, like blocking the sun and shit, like in a certain area that may be like one of them was like South Africa, and some of the discrimination, they were like, you know, essentially we need to clean that up. So I mean, done with it, but it's basically striking the balance of like being like having perceived peace on Earth with ultimate surveillance and dictate. I guess, well, not dictatorship, but ultimate like control from something else, from other than beings on Earth.
Right.
So it's interesting. It's a good book, but yeah, I mean, just taking your eyes off the screen. I mean, I got like blue light reduction glasses, just to, I mean, you'd be amazed. you're if somebody has like HSA funds, like they literally, those are eligible because of the benefits of blocking blue light and type shit. Like the amount of stuff that our bodies are consuming, it affects your sleep, fucking brain activity. So like they'll literally approve the transaction of HSA funds. So I mean, that alone just tells you that I mean, you got to have this stuff in moderation.
Yeah, I
But
mean that comes on most glasses now. Yeah, it's like, yeah, I definitely like, it's funny on here, like this light back here, I hate it. It's just a big fluorescent. And I've got just a lamp down there, incandescent lamps, and I want to add like some more. Like I did this, I feel like it looks stupid, but this whole thing I did here, my whole thought was I want to start adding some more like warm colors to our surroundings, because you get a lot of neutrality. And actually, I just watched the Elvis movie, by the way. Very good movie. And it was funny. It was set in the 70s, or 60s and 70s, and they had so much color and everything. And we've kind of sanitized so much of our surroundings. Everything, you walk into buildings, everything's just very like squared off and clean. But no, it's funny you mentioned about the physical world, because I know for me digitally, like I'm way too consumed with this thing. And I got into some game I was playing, and it's like, and I kind of hope this could be a better way for me to interact than just typing stuff on Twitter. And I know it's digital, but it's a little more real conversation. It's interesting you said about that book you're talking about. Have you seen the movie District 9?
I might have fell asleep on. I know I've heard of it.
Well, it's the same thing. Aliens show up, but they're over South Africa. So I was almost wondering if it was related in some way. But it's kind of the opposite. Aliens show up and they're like refugees, or they appear to be refugees. Who knows? And so they kind of section them off, and it kind of mimics apartheid, right? They build these slums that the aliens live in, and they're kind of just kept there, but they're also under being fully monitored all the time.
Right.
Yeah, that's interesting what you said about absolute control, like a peaceful world. Because there has to be, like, there does feel like, even when you took like total freedom, like let's say we had the very beginnings of America, people lived under rules that they voluntarily adhered to. If we, in that sense, it was like mostly a Christian country, right? But it does feel like you have to all be rowing in the same direction, and there have to be some unspoken rules in order to have a society that functions. And actually, I think that's one of the difficult things is now there is no coordinated effort. I think in crypto a little bit, like that's what bothers me a little bit when we have all these warring factions inside of crypto, is like, man, if we all got on the same page as far as here's the ethos, let's stop fighting with each other. Let's all live the life. Let's live like you're trying to live out those principles, right? Make yourself private, make yourself, and a lot of us are just too lazy to do it. It's just not, it's important, but it's not an ethos. And I talked about that before, Litecoin values, right? Like if we had kind of guiding principles to what crypto should be in general, not that you meet voluntarily, obviously, right? There's no force involved, because I think you have to live it. I think if you don't represent like if you don't live an ethos, you can't sit there and preach it.
Yeah. I mean, you got to have skin in the game, right? I mean, you got to take risk. You got to be willing to fail. You know, you got to be willing to ask questions, you know, every day. I mean, you know, you're never too old to learn. I mean, the moment you stop learning, I mean, fuck, man, it's done. You know, I just think, like, you know, the thing is for ultimate, you know, when you give up your privacy, financially, you know, you're giving up one of the core tenets of what this whole movement is, and that's censorship resistance. You know, you know, so, you know, I don't think, you know, ultimately, you know, my perspective is that, you know, this is technology for a cashless society era in a digital age, right? I mean, it doesn't mean just because we got cash right now that's not useful, but if there ultimately is a time to where, you know, dollar, you know, physical dollar notes and, you know, what have you is no longer circulating. I mean, I literally was at a store. All right, so I made an online purchase, and they wanted to vet the purchase, and they wanted me to forfeit my ID. You know, this was a musical instrument. You know, I'm like, that is not happening. So I had them cancel it, and I go into the physical store, and I go to pay with cash, and they're looking at me crazy. They're like, well no, we don't accept that. I'm like, you don't accept cash? Well, ever since,
Like,
like,
how about
COVID,
silver
you know,
coins?
I mean, it's ridiculous. So I
Yeah,
mean,
that's
you know,
crazy.
I think slowly but surely, you know, you're starting to see businesses start to, you know, wither away the use of cash,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, you're gonna want a digital version of that, and you know, to maintain its use and its effectiveness, you know, it cannot be tied to your identity, especially on a transparent ledger. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I mean, at that point, I mean, people know what you have. They know what you're doing. Whether it's you just want privacy from governments or marketers. I mean, you're talking bad actors, you know, and shit. People are bad with their security. I mean, like, it was Andrew Tate, I guess. What was it? The pizza box, you know, that led to his, you know, gathering. So, you know, it's you know, this shit out here, you know, people just you know, there's freedoms that come with it, but it does take practice. It does take you getting your hands dirty. And like you said, I mean, a lot of people, the carrot, I mean, it's the carrot. I talk about it. Convenience is the carrot, but it comes with the ultimate price. And, you know, what you do today may be legal, but tomorrow maybe not. And who
Yep.
you decide to support, and or, you know, what you believe in could get you in hot water. And if people know that your identity is tied to this UTXO, you know, there's the use of this technology is not going to do you any good. And I think the Canadian truckers displayed that quite vividly, you know, because they obviously weren't conducting in any private fashion. You know, they should have been using the PayNim BIP 47s, but
Do you think the Canadian truckers, like, have any idea how often crypto people refer to them?
You know, I mean,
it's
they're
like such
probably
a
so
major deal
pissed
to
that
us,
this,
and it's like a handful of them dealt with it,
I would imagine a lot of them were like, "Oh, this fucking shit doesn't work." You know, it's supposed to be
Yeah.
anonymous and blah blah blah. You know, oh fuck, man. I mean, yeah, I imagine probably a handful's pissed off. But can you imagine how effective that would have been if the Canadian government just had no way of stepping in? You know, the movement might have continued because ultimately, once they started getting in, putting their hands into them pockets, you
Yeah.
know, the truckers folded like fucking, you know,
Like
bad backs,
it's
man.
very real. Yeah, but it's very real, right? Like your mortgage payment, and you start thinking about, I got a life to live and I got a family, and how valuable is this? And
Right.
it definitely starts to feel like, even if you're like even if the side you're fighting for is your family, like when you're, again, I'm assuming these truck drivers are mostly men. Probably, I know there's probably some women in there, but as a dad, you're like, yeah, if taking this vaccine is what does it, then okay. Even if there's a risk, like I'm willing to take that risk because I have to provide for my family. I've got to, standing your ground sometimes is on a different level. Like you're kind of, you're going to bat for your family instead of your country or employer. Your motivations change, I guess. But I wanted to, maybe we'll end it after this. But so I wanted these Litecoin values. I kind of got, whatever you want to call them, an ethos, Bill of Rights, whatever you want to call it. There was one good video I had that really is what I'm aspiring to create in this, and it's Eric Voorhees. That dude's awesome.
I like him.
Yeah, Eric Voorhees is better than just about every Bitcoiner. So let me pull up this video because I thought he really put it well. How we should be how we should be talking about these things, that they shouldn't just be number go up technologies. They shouldn't just be anti-government. Like, I think sometimes there's this tendency to focus on the negative.
Sure.
Rather than who do we, I was in that Bitcoin Cash thing. Like, the one guy was like, well, who's our common enemy? I was like, maybe instead of thinking of things like who's our enemy, how do you inspire people? How do you get people excited about it rather than we just sit in our corner and go, the government. Like, it's like you just become that, you just get dismissed. That's just a crazy conspiracy theorist. But if you can explain, like, not what should we be afraid of, but what does the future look like if we can actually get this stuff established, and why is that good for people's freedoms and opportunities, and storing their value long term, and I guess avoiding the criminal behavior of the governments, then what do we get out of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let me pull this up here. That's a look. That's a look of wonder.
That's a Jesus look there.
All right.
Flat out.
Tell me if you can't. I think you should be able to hear this.
Those of us in this ecosystem, this industry, have created essentially a new financial foundation for the whole world. This is a huge responsibility. And the entire purpose of this financial foundation is that all of humanity can use an open, immutable financial layer. We are separating money from politics. We are separating money from the state. And in the same way that the church was separated from the state, and everyone now hails that as one of the greatest things that humanity ever did, we now too, it comes to us to do the same for money. Money is as or more important to people than religion is. We interact with it every day in all sorts of manners. And just as mathematics or language are immutable and open to the entire human race, so too should the exchange and management of money. That is the principle that makes this entire ecosystem important. That is the principle that justifies everything that we do. And if we lose that, it will be something that we regret for the rest of our lives because we had that opportunity.
Mhm.
Yeah, I feel like you put that so well, right? He didn't try to make it this big negative thing. Like, hey, he's saying like to speak the vision, you know, and I think it's hard to do because you start to sound a little bit, you know, maybe we just don't live in an era of optimism, you know. So we're just we're surrounded by pessimism all the time, and with the cynicism. That's what kind of rules all spaces. You post anything on Twitter, and you're going to get a cynic. You're going to get a doubter, and that's what garners the most attention. And I think like a little bit of what I've wanted to do with this before you came on, I was kind of talking about why I even created Litecoin Underground and why I was even doing these. I was telling my wife, I'm like, I'm gonna do a live stream on Saturday. And I was like, and I even said to her, I'm like, I don't even know why. I don't even know why I'm doing it. Like sometimes I even sit and think, you know, it'd be nice to have a bigger audience. I think my whole goal is to grow the audience, not only for crypto, but I like the pace of our conversations, the type of conversations you have, having good, respectful back and forth. And I think the more of it that's out there, I think the better it is. And, you know, someone like Joe Rogan obviously is taken off because he's a guy having normal conversations, you know, he's not trying to push an agenda. He's trying to learn. He's gives honest criticism and he's himself. And so I think we could do a lot for crypto if we have more places that people can go and learn without feeling like they're being sold to, you know.
Sure.
It doesn't have to be flashy. I don't have to yell at you. I don't have to show you a chart and tell you we're going to $1 billion, which by the way, I never put the chart up. January 7th. Let's see where we're like, it's been $76 or whatever for like the last. There you go. Just under 76.
Rocket ship. Get on board.
Yeah. No, you know, just buy, you know, I always tell people, if you haven't bought any, buy a little bit and try it out. It was, you know, it was funny. I looked back, I did that thing with Christy Lee on InfoWars or whatever, you know, remember that?
Yeah.
And that's like the only time I very rarely am like, hey, now's a good time to buy. But on that video, I was like, hey, like right now, I said $50 for a Litecoin, like could buy one or two, you know, just learn, just dip your toe in the water. And so far, my one time I've told people to buy, it's been good. They're ahead. So I haven't gotten anybody wrecked yet.
I'll tell you, I mean, you know, there's a lot of uses for it. I think people should, you know, if they're dipping their toes in it, buy something with it. You know, just see what it's all about. I think the thing is like is people actually seeing that it works, right? And that you can actually, you know, have trade and commerce and you can live a life on this rather it just being some speculative investment. You know, big shout out to Mr. Westwood down there, man. That's the guy, man. I tell you what, he's a cool dude. But you know, it's you know, it's not nothing personal. You know, it's just I just feel like it's agency over your being. You know, what was it? Carl Menger, you know, said it a lot, you know, that basically the means of exchange is a human decision on an individual level. You know, you should be able to determine, you know, what you want to use as a means of exchange. I so happen to choose to use things that preserve my privacy and that I don't have to ask for permission or, you know, wondering if my funds are being lent out and if there's a run on the bank, you know, is it going to be there or not type shit, you know? So, I mean, this is just, you're just removing human error. You know, you just want security over your hard work, you know, when you're out there making a living. And you know, human management of the currency. If one doesn't know by now, I mean, they should just look at a fucking chart of purchasing power from 1913 on forward. and you should be able to discover that, it's becoming harder and harder to live, and this isn't something I want to pass along to my son, and I think a lot of people feel the same way. So, I don't think that we're radicalists or criminals or anything like that. It's just people that are living their life, the only life we know, and and want to opt out of the malarkey running amok. So,
You're like Joe Biden, the malarkey, dude.
the malarkey amok.
Yeah, I like the idea of just thinking of it as cash. I think it's probably the best way to describe it, because people take cash, like again, in your day to day. There's a little like there's something that people like about cash, and they'll generally be cool with that idea of, I just got a couple bucks in my pocket. And sometimes it's even, like, oh, I got a couple bucks my wife doesn't know about, or my husband doesn't know. They like that concept of, hey, I got when I'm somewhere, I can throw cash on the table. I go to the store and buy something that nobody knows I was there, type of thing. So
Sure.
I think that might be the early adoption, is people seeing that as cash like. And the remittance thing, that to me is will be the reason this stuff will never go away. The ability to send cross-border payments. It doesn't impact you. I've never sent money overseas except to other crypto people, just for fun, the entertainment value of it. So, it's just a matter of time. I really don't have any concerns about the long term of these ideas. I still think the cat is out of the bag. This concept is out there, and as long as people can grasp the ethos of it, it'll survive. And I think there's a lot of people out there that get it. In the first world, there's a lot of people that get it. So imagine how much makes sense it's going to make for the third world, right?
Yeah, you hope. Internet purchases. I'm just reading some here.
Actually, I'll reply to this. Litecoin card is not, well, it's a dollar transaction if you're going to use, here, let me share this. So I've looked this up. There is no fee if you are using the Litecoin card. So when you go and you check out, it'll say, what's your PIN? Just skip it. And if you do that, it counts as a credit card and there's no fee. So don't type your PIN in, because that's like an ATM. Now, Meta's going to tell you, don't ever use Litecoin card because it's on chain and everybody's going to know your business. Or your name is tied to that address now. And he's right. That's true. But as long as you're using it for day-to-day purchases, I'm a big fan of it. I use it. I use Cake Pay. But Litecoin card, it's a very easy way to use your Litecoin. And we had a long conversation about it. I think showing support of the network is important, because businesses like Cake Wallet and Get Hedge, right, they're gathering statistics. And if you don't use the coin, if vendors don't see that you care about using Litecoin, they're just going to not even offer you to use it anymore. Because why jump through hoops if there's no customers? That's how businesses think. So in the short term, I think we have to be willing to maybe do some things that we go, it's not perfect, but I think the long-term goal, in my opinion, is acceptance. And, we could disagree about that, but step one is people have to use it, or they're never going to use it if they don't use it.
Sure. Yeah. I'm an on-chain activist. But the KYC is problematic, and no tax advice, but it's potentially trying to rectify all those transactions could be a nightmare. But
that was the first thing. I remember that was the first thing you ever brought up in Twitter Spaces. I remember you came in, you were like, dude, I was using it at the gas station, the grocery store, and I realized, like, wait a minute, how am I going to keep track of all this stuff?
Right.
I mean,
But
right now it's
I would,
great. They're all losses. Everybody's at a loss. So these are you can get some tax benefits by spending it right now.
right, right. Well, so I would say as well, like your bit refills
Oh
are
yeah, yeah.
fantastic for everyday spending. You could even pay utilities using a service like Bit Refill. Um, they've got freaking gift cards for anything under the sun for the most part. I mean, if you think about it, they probably have it. If they don't have it, Coin Cards probably has it. Coin Cards accepts Monero, Litecoin, Bitcoin. And the cake pay and the cake web. I mean, everyday purchases. I mean, cake pay. I mean, like we're almost to the point of like a native type of transaction at that, with that kind of experience. But you can, like your boy Joel, I mean, he lives off of crypto. He's been doing it for years.
Yep.
And it could definitely be done. Just depends on the route you want to go about it. Like if you're okay with the KYC situation and you do like a get hedge to where you get, some of your payment, your salary or whatever through them. And then from that point, I mean, honestly, I would look, if I was using a service like Get Hedge, which is KYC, but if I was, it would be Get Hedge in the fucking Litecoin card like all day long. I mean, that would be extremely easy to live off of, right?
Well, yeah, and even if you like, I think you could even say like I get where you're coming from, where it's like the on chain, but I think you could even try to have these two different worlds you live in, where you're like, look, part of me is just going to be this kind of white market actor, right? I'm going to accept a little bit of paycheck, I'm going to spend on it, but at the same time, you can have some cold storage coins or something in a mobile wallet that isn't on chain, and attempt to keep them separate. Or maybe it's even in different coins, right? Maybe you say like, I'm going to keep my dark money, so to speak, in Monero. And when I want to use it to Litecoin, I can maybe move it into Cake wallet and swap it out at that point, So there's ways to do it. The point is just use them, use the tools, because I think the better you get at them, the more comfortable you are. And I've also thought that means a lot to when you're talking to somebody and you're explaining to them like how this stuff works. If you've used it a bunch of times, you're way more comfortable telling them like I have total confidence. I still do the test transaction because there's still some like bullshit phishing that goes on out there, but I do a little test transaction. Once that hits the mempool, I'm like, I'm good, and I'll send whatever amount now because I've gained so much confidence in it. I'm amazed, dude.
Yeah.
You ever see those massive transactions when there's not a test transaction in front of it? You're like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Someone sent like $70 million and they didn't do a test transaction. I mean, maybe they probably have like, they probably like in Coinbase and they've whitelisted certain addresses or something, but
shit, man. Yeah.
I'm always like I'll send like whatever 0.01 Litecoin, 5-10
Yeah.
cents, see what's going on.
I'd say so. Doing so. I mean, shit, man. Even sending wires. Yeah, I mean, like, it's a hit or miss. and on wire recalls, I mean, God, man, it take a couple weeks.
I've never wired money in my life, I don't think.
Yeah, it's a fucking ripoff.
What do they charge you? What's the cost? It's so funny when you're like, what's the cost to the business? Like literally, it's an electronic transfer.
Right.
So
and intermediaries, along the way, depending on where you're going with it. If it's international, I mean, it's stopping off and everybody's taking a little chunk of the change. But it's you gotta have some sense about it. Like you said, test transactions. But the other cool thing is that, I mean, just meet people, talk to people, like Maple Trade. This guy makes maple syrup from around your way up in
I
northern
know,
Ohio.
dude. He's like an hour from me. And you talks with noises from around my neighbor. I mean, he's in the other direction of the maple guy. We could meet at the maple trade guy. Talks with noise and I were both like an hour away from him.
Yeah. I mean, this guy, got online and, I don't know the dude from nothing, man, but
Right.
I saw he interacted with some reputable people. So, I figured that it was legit. And it was. I mean, look, if people are out there to scam somebody out of like, $20 worth of crypto or some shit, I mean, you're never going to get it again. I mean, that business, from that individual. So, I mean, people for the most part are just. I haven't ran into a bad actor, but it was a simple peer-to-peer. This person was out there with their craft and wanted to expand their reach, and cryptocurrency allowed that to happen. At a just a quick, it settled, and everything was finite, and the syrup was on the way. And then on top of that, his sister had, she does some beef tallow, like tallow, tallow soap and stuff. You know what I mean? So
Really?
yeah.
I've been thinking about that because I just started deep frying shit. Yeah, I was talking about losing weight, and here I had a deep fryer for Christmas, and someone was like, "Oh, you should do French fries and beef tallow," and I'm like, "Man, you have to buy a ton of that stuff, man."
Yeah, if you're gonna fucking if you're gonna fry it, at least do that. I'm down for that.
Yeah. Well, actually, you reminded me of something. I think it's Tong Jerky, TONG.
Oh yeah.
Kyle was talking about that, and I'm wondering if I was actually thinking about doing a purchase on here.
Yeah, I've done a couple from them. They're out in California.
Do they have? I wonder how much. Yeah, okay, I'll check it. Maybe next week I'll do a purchase. So yeah, so I think we did plenty here today. So yeah, I'm trying to do these every week. I don't know if 9's the right time. It wasn't too bad for me. I kind of liked it. Got me up and going, and I accomplished something this morning rather than just sitting around. Yeah, if anybody who watches this, or if you met anybody, know somebody who wants to come on. I mean, if you want to come on consistently, I don't know. I mean, if you want to get in this get up every week or not, but I want to try to build like a regular team. Maybe it's just two of us, and then we bring people in on occasion. Maybe there's three of us, and then to start every week, someone brings in some different topics. Like I thought this actually flowed pretty well, to be honest with you. But I had other stuff I want to talk about, but I mean, we can save that for another day. The cobalt mining. I almost want to do a reaction. I haven't watched that video yet. I want to do like a live react.
Get Bogomaz's ass up here, man. That's some wild shit though.
He was passionate about it. He said he was affected for a few days by it. I started to watch it last night. I was like, you know what? I'll just live react. So maybe I'll just wait until next week to do that.
I mean, I think the book should be coming out, right? I think the guy is releasing the book at the first of the year.
Maybe I should see if I can get him in here. Yeah. Who is he? He's probably famous now.
He was a Joe Rogan participant.
Yeah, here I got it. His name is Siddharth Kara. Let's see if he's on Twitter. Hey, do you want to come talk to 6 people? I know you just talked to Joe Rogan, but do you want to talk to 6 people on the Litecoin underground?
Let's work on the reach.
It doesn't look like even. All right, here we go. He's got 25,000 followers. All right. Cobalt Red, the blood of the Congo powers up. I mean, that'd actually be really cool. Shit, maybe I'll message him. You never know. He might be passionate about it, and I want to try to get. There's another lady. Her name is Magat Wade. Have you ever heard of her before?
No.
She's from like these areas, Western Africa. I think she's from Senegal or Ghana, one of those two. And she was on Jordan Peterson like a few months ago. I listened to an interview with her. She basically started a business or she came to the US and for college or something and started a business over here. And she just saw this like wildly different ways that where she came from operates versus the US. And she's like this super free market person, sharp lady. And she's starting to dip her toe into Bitcoin. I texted or messaged her on Twitter, like, would you want to do a Litecoin one? You know, she'd be a great person to come in and talk about some of this, you know, the currency, the France currency, the cobalt mining, like, you know, what's really going on over there. And yeah, again, have a conversation. I'm just the whole interview thing, man. I think that's what just I don't know. It just doesn't hit home with me when I see someone just interrogating somebody, right? So maybe I could get her to come in. She's kind of got some attention right now. So again, just like you go spend the Litecoin, share my stuff, view it. I'm the only thing out here for Litecoin, so help me out. Send people messages. Like if you got somebody you find interesting, just be like, hey, why don't you come on Litecoin Underground? Send them a DM. You'd be surprised how often I get responses. People are willing to do it. It's just a matter of asking. So all right. Well, yeah, let's leave it at that. And anybody wants to be here, Jason Moore. This is I think you're on here. You can answer this. What is that picture? Hang on, what is this a picture of in your profile pic? Looks like a toilet seat. That is Jason. I know. I forget what his Jason 99 or something. He was one of the first guys in the Litecoin Underground audio, actually. I think he might have been the first one.
Yeah. You know, it's non-KYC. You're looking at like localmonero.com is a good one. You can pay with like gift cards. You can even do like physical cash. There's quite a few different payment methods. The exchange KuCoin, right? KU. That's a non-KYC exchange as well. As far as like the payment methods, though, I mean, you know, I don't think I just moved like crypto on there and then, you know, done trading with that. The other thing,
when you say cake wallet, just use a cake wallet, right? Move your Litecoin on there and swap it out.
Yeah, they're supposed to be implementing like a exchange mechanism or like a purchasing mechanism on there as well. I saw Vic was talking about that. But yeah, I mean, you can always you know, do some swaps like that Majestic Bank or the Side Shift, or if you wanted to do in Cake, that would work as well. But yeah, I would say like Local Monero or the KuCoin are probably the.
Wasn't it on Kraken or something? Isn't it on Kraken?
Yeah, you could do it on Kraken as well. Obviously, it's KYC. So, but yeah, Kraken has Monero. So
if you're concerned with KYC, is that they just know that you own some, like you're on the list of an XMR as a Monero owner.
Yeah, I mean, you know, essentially, you have to you're asking permission in the form of submitting documentation, and you know, at that point, you know, censorship is resistance is at a loss in my perspective there. So you know, this is a peer-to-peer technology. I mean, you shouldn't, you know, for it to be inclusive and for it to be for the people around the world, you know, nobody should have to forfeit anything to acquire any of this freedom of speech technology, this you know, means of exchange. You know, because all that is a barrier to entry. Some people don't have documents. It doesn't make them a criminal. So they can't participate in the financial system, or they have to be at the mercy of some individual that does, and they trust them with their wages and stuff. I mean, you know, this is a system that is it's open to anybody, right? So, you know, none of us should have to forfeit any information to acquire it. And you know, again, when you do forfeit the information, you know, I mean, it's, you know, if ever there's a time to where, you know, that there's a inquiry, or, you know, if we're ever into this social credit kind of scenario, and you travel too much with your gas powered vehicle, or etc. I mean, you know, we're looking at potential issues. So even though it's Monero, if you KYC, I mean, you know, yeah, I mean, they may not be able to see, you know, the amounts or the addresses, but at the end of the day, they still know that you have it. And then coercion exists in many fashion, right? So I mean, you're essentially opening yourself up to attack via criminals, or you know, government agencies, or, you know, entities. You know, it's just not welcome. So
Gotcha. All right, man. I think we'll wrap it up.
wrap it up. These are high as hell on the wallet.
Oh yeah, I don't know which one. All right.
I think
So
cake, maybe.
next week I'll be here. I don't know who else will be here. Maybe we'll have somebody, a new guest. Maybe we'll have more than one. I don't know. I didn't even plan. I wasn't even planning on this to have you. I was like, just on a whim. I'm like, hey, well, come in, come on in. Clint was going to come in, but he said, I don't think he was. It's early in the morning. You guys, earlier for you. All right. Wait, everybody take it easy. Good seeing you. And hopefully I'll make this a regular thing.
Yeah. You guys have a great one, and yeah, be easy out there. Take care. Watch that new variant though.
Yeah.
Be careful.
See you later.
Peace.